let's talk about Doctor Who and the Doctor Who ratings, because of course we are back with Doctor Who. Now, I'm doing something slightly different this year with Doctor Who, because of course last year we just spoke about the raw numbers and they were very, very funny, obviously. But this year I thought I'd actually watch it. So I'll be a little bit more informed of the show itself, and I guess why the ratings are as bad as they are. They are awful, by the way. So I'm not gonna, I'm not gonna tease you any longer with it. The ratings, as shown here on Doctor Who TV, overnight ratings are 2 million. 2 million views, overnight ratings, right? Now, that's atrocious. That's actually the worst opening of any Doctor Who premiere ever in the history. And I thought to myself, like, well, why? Like, why is that? And that this is the main reason why I watched it, right? Like, I watched this episode, and it is the weirdest thing. It's the weirdest thing. So you guys may have seen some reports about this. Bo, maybe not you. Although it may actually populate on your algorithm these days, to be honest, because of what I get you to do for this. But there was a lot of articles going with the early reviews talking about this. The planet of the incels. That's what this episode is about. It's about the planet of the incels. Right? Now, I think that there's a few things to look at with this as a conversation. Is that this weird, overly high focus on sexualizing children, which is absolutely what this is. No child should not be an incel. They should all be an incel, right? Like, all children should be an incel at this point. This show is firmly for children, as evidenced by this particular episode, where a bunch of robots with very juvenile designs and juvenile faces on them come down and kidnap the Doctor's companion, right, and take her to the planet of the incels. It's very juvenile. It's very, infantile in its design language, and it's very bright colors. It's designed for children. What the hell is this show talking about incels for? Talking about coercive control for, which is another element of this episode. And yeah, well, basically that. I mean, I could go on and on and on and on. He also cries like a bitch in this episode as well. Again, cries in every episode, it seems. Thoughts?
Do they actually call it the... Oh, sorry.
Oh, no, yes. No, 100%. The companion actor literally goes, it's the planet of the incels. So you're watching that. You can imagine watching that with your young kid. They're going to go, Dad, what's an incel? And you're going to have to explain it to this child that 100% should be celibate. Like, they should be. This isn't like a revelation. What is wrong? Yeah, I don't know. It's this weird sexualizing children thing at the moment that
it's almost like they know that their time is short, right? It's like they know the writing is on the wall. There was a YouGov poll last month that came out that said only 15% of adults like the current era of Doctor Who. 15%. So 85% of the adults in the audience don't prefer what you're doing. And it's like they're tripling down, which makes me wonder just what the hell are they trying to do? Run off the last remaining Doctor Who fan, and only be Cutie Gatwa fans watching the show. And I don't even know how anybody could be a fan just watching him cry ugly. Last season should have put at least any heterosexual men off of the show. How can we stand to sit there and watch that? I don't want to even see my brother ugly cry, much less Cutie. It's bizarre.
Well, yeah. I mean, so someone in the chat said they're drawing a sort of a commentary point of view saying adults, and I'm saying the show's for kids. The show is for children now, like 100% it is for children, but there are adults that enjoyed this show when they were children and they've grown up.
Right.
But when the design language of this, and also Russell T Davies has come out very firmly and said, yep, we're capturing the younger audience, which is exactly what we want. That's what we're trying to do. They've literally said that they are trying to capture the younger audience, which actually in that poll you've referenced, Chris, shows that they're not doing that, which is hilarious.
They get about 39% of the 18 to 24-year-olds, and the rest of them have never watched the show. So,
yeah. It's just a disaster. It's an absolute disaster. But I feel like what we're getting here is, and I think we'll get more of it in this this year, next year, is we're getting a lot of heavy focus on this word incel. This is the new thing. This is the new catchphrase. This is the new, like it was in adolescence, right? Adolescence. Oh, he's an incel. Yeah, he should be. He's a child. He should be an incel. Yeah, he's like he 100% should be. You know, that shitty show that everyone's banging on about that's clearly rank propaganda. And now, coincidentally, this comes out and it's talking about incels. I feel like this is the new thing. This is the new state propaganda talking about incels because they're afraid of the white English, the white British. They're afraid of them. They're afraid of them being disenfranchised with the state of the country and just going, I'm not down for this. So they're looking to villainize them preemptively. That's my take.
It's just such a unique property. Doctor Who is. It's got such a rich history and is sort of an integral part of the pop culture history, particularly in England. And so they gender swapped the character a few seasons ago. And then they said, okay, we'll switch it back, but now we're going to race swap the character. And if you don't like these swaps, you're a bigot. And they have done, it seems like, you thought Russell T Davies, when he was going to come back, it was like, oh, okay, we're going to get back to form with this show. And he has made it no different than his gay HBO series type stuff. I mean, it's literally like they've taken the toys and they're just doing whatever they want. It's like, taking someone's Star Wars toys and saying, okay, now
don't do that. Don't do that gesticulation when you're talking about Doctor Who, mate. That's a very awkward gesticulation to do.
Well,
when you're talking about Doctor Who, mate. Don't do that.
Okay.
People will clip that as a video, mate. All right, don't tempt him.
It's like somebody playing with toys that don't belong to them and mocking them. And they've got a big budget for it. And it's like ever since Disney got involved, things went from bad to worse. I don't think it's ever going to get its original core audience back because just like anything else, if you've been going to a restaurant for years and they insult you, you don't go back to that restaurant. Well, this show has insulted longtime viewers. I have no idea what sort of business model they're operating on. But this is not how you make money, and they're not trying to entertain. And for anybody in the audience that doesn't know what an incel is, that stands for involuntarily celibate. So what it means is you don't want to be celibate, but you're kind of forced to because you're an unlikable person. And since you're such an unlikable person, we're going to call you an incel. Now, you might get laid every now and then, but we're just going to call you that as an insult. And so they're playing these childish, I mean, it's like Mean Girls, really. Mean Girls have taken over Doctor Who, and we're going to say the planet of the incels. I'm like, well, that initially you think, oh, Planet of the Apes or something like that. But no, it's worse than that. It's Planet of the Incels, which is part and parcel for what this show has become. It's really it's a joke of its former self. I hate to see it, but what do you do? I mean, it's irreparable. How do you go back from all this? You don't.
Oh, you don't. You take it off the air. You take it off the air completely.
It's a shame.
Go on, Bo.
So a number of things. We talked last week. There was a bit of discussion on Lotus Eaters about incels and or just the term incels. And it's sort of a variant on calling someone a virgin. I suppose you could lose your virginity and then revert back to being an incel. Anyway, it's just a way to it literally, as Chris said, just to say you're an unattractive person. You're sort of permanently unattractive sort of thing. Yeah, it's quite a horrible thing to say. But children, though, all children are and should be incels, right? So
yeah,
and it seems to only apply to men. there's no such thing as a female incel, apparently. But yeah, it's not actually. I feel like it's not really anything to do with how often you get laid or anything. It's just in the bag of insults, like saying, oh, you still live in your mother's basement. You people probably don't think you literally do, but it's just a thing to say, right? It's just a thing to say. It's a shorthand for you're a loser, right? Whether you're literally involuntary celibate and live in a basement or not doesn't really matter. They'll just say it. So yeah, it's just a really lame Mean Girls insult, right? Okay, so there's that. Fine, it's just part of the lexicon of being horrible to people. Okay, but to actually like put it in a kids show, what is really a kids show, Doctor Who, supposed to be at least, weird. That's so subversive and weird. Why do that other than to be weird and subversive? And like I think your Chris said about doubling down or tripling down. Yeah, that's what this feels like. Have you ever been in real life when someone's been caught in a lie, and they just refuse? Doesn't matter how clearly they're shown to have been. I would think of. Do you remember that Jussie Smollett?
Yeah.
Remember Jussie Smollett? Even after there was a trial to show that he'd been lying, or that he'd purged himself or whatever. It was just shown that it was. He still insisted he wasn't lying. Like honestly, like a 4-year-old that's got chocolate all over their face and hands, and in insisting they haven't got into the Nutella. Just looking you right in the eye and saying over and over and over again, "No, I didn't do it. No, I didn't do it." It's just, it's just that. It seems to me with this, with how clearly unpopular Doctor Who has been with the wokest agenda, with the message, as Drinker would say. Yeah, it's so unpopular, but it feels like sort of ideological reasons. They will just refuse to abandon it until the show is completely run into the ground. And well, it can't come soon enough. That's all I can say.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. I completely agree. I think what's funny about all of this as well, though, is that there was something that you said, I can't remember what it was that you said there, Chris. It was something to do with all of the sort of polling and things like that. The polling just shows like it's an abject failure.
Yeah. Well, they're not growing their audience. I mean, you're not reaching any new audience members. You've reached the fans of the drag queen shows, and you've reached the fans of people who eat pablum. If you want some more slop from Disney Plus, here's Doctor Who. Remember this great show you've been hearing about most of your life, but you've never checked out? Well, now check it out. Now chock full of more diversity. I mean, that's really, they have prioritized the message over the entertaining the fans. Doctor Who, you could tell stories literally forever in the universe that they've created. And they don't all have to be bangers. They don't all have to be, oh, wow, I was so moved, or I was so impressed by last night's Doctor Who episode, but they could still be fun. You could even go back and, I mean, there's so much they could do, but everything seems to be making some kind of liberal progress, this progressive attempt to push the boundaries further, but they're not pushing the boundaries of science fiction. They're just pushing the boundaries of what's appropriate to put on television for families. So now you have families that the 8-year-old says, incel. What's an incel? Is there a planet of incels? What is that, Daddy? And then Daddy's got to roll his eyes and say, you can't watch that show anymore. I mean, literally, no parent is going to explain incel, no good parent. So they shouldn't need to. They shouldn't need to. No, but that's what's on television, Nate. That's what they're doing. That's what they're putting out there. And, this is just going to make more and more parents hyper vigilant. And you know how sometimes they say, I think we were going to talk about the Fantastic Four movie. You have shills out there saying, hey, it's just one line from an interview. That doesn't mean that it's woke. Well, the problem is there's been so much woke infection in our pop culture that now we've become hyper vigilant, and any red flag, we're like, nope, I'm going to skip that. I'm not going to waste 2 hours on that.
Yeah.
I'm just not interested.
So I've just remembered what it was that you said that jogged my memory on something. So you said about Disney haven't made it better. It's funny because there was an interview with Russell T Davies where he come out and said, "I only came back to protect Doctor Who from Disney." It's like, sorry, what do you think you've done that's any different to what Disney would have wanted to do? What you're ideologically aligned? Like what? Would they have just speed run the destruction of Doctor Who whilst you're just trying to slowly walk it down off a cliff? Like what is it that you think you've protected here? What is it that you think you've saved? Like you're doing the same thing. You are ideologically aligned. There's no difference to what they think or what they want to put in stories.
Maybe Russell, maybe he's not keeping up with the times and doesn't realize that Disney is ideologically woke also. Maybe he thought it meant, oh, they're going to turn it into some Disney Channel family friendly show. Who knows?
Oh yeah, too family friendly.
Right. Yeah. Well, nothing could be further from the truth.
It is all part of the message of sort of subversive leftist, wokeist, neo-Marxist stuff, isn't it? The Rainbow Flag Brigade is the sexualization of children. The example of sort of the drag queen story hour thing. I think in the future, hopefully in the future, those pictures of like tiny little kids in like a library or school library somewhere, like little 4 or 5-year-olds being leered over by some giant, monstrous, demonic, like 6'3" widow twanky nightmare makeup dude standing there with a kid's book in his hand. I hope that images like that and programs like this aimed at children but talking about incels, hopefully we'll look back on it as sort of an abomination.
Yes.
Sort of a freak moment in time. We have it now. You can look at old sort of late 19th century, early 20th century photographs of sort of small children working in factories, working down mines. You can find an old black and white photo of like an 8-year-old coming out of the mine with a cigarette in his mouth, right?
Right.
Photos like that exist. A chimney sweep, like a 6-year-old chimney sweep. And you think, God, what a crazy time. What a crazy time. Thank God we don't live in that anymore. I hope that the 2010s, the early 2020s, we'll look back at it that way. I just hope.
Hopefully with some shame. I've been on the set of a few movies when I was younger, and I remember one picture. Wasn't the star, he was a co-star. He was 8 years old, maybe 7, and was just cussing the most profane things you can say. And I was shocked at the time. And he was smoking a cigarette, just like you said. And I thought, how are they normalizing this kind of behavior on the Hollywood set? Obviously, the kid was, the picture of innocence in the movie. But, behind the scenes or on the set, not at all. And
sure wasn't Warren Davis.
No, it wasn't. No, I'm positive. And I don't even want to mention the movie now. But I think they just like with the drag queen story hours, they are normalizing this sort of stuff to a younger generation so that they are desensitized to what normal, reasonable adults have been shocked by. You might go to a drag queen, you might go to a bar where there's a drag show and you might think, well, this is bizarre, but it's just some sort of show. It's just something like, okay, well, it's entertaining, it's funny, I know that's a man, but look at him all dressed up, fun event, let's move on. But you never thought you'd see it at the public library with 5-year-olds all around on the ground at this drag queen's knees. Well, Russell T Davies is the person who subscribes to that. I mean, if he could get them in every library, he would. And the progress that they're pushing towards is just like you said, Nate. They want children. They want children to think like them. They want it to be easier for future generations to deal in all of their perversions and it's just a sick culture. And it's a shame that an iconic series like Doctor Who is now contributing to that. It's been captured like so many other franchises have been.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. Got some super chats about this. So Steve Williams, super chats, $5. Thank you so much. Says, leave BBC brackets propaganda machine to rot. Yes.
Yeah.
100%.
I've said before, if there's anyone out there that is in Britain that still pays their license fee, stop. You can go to the BBC website, and it's actually really, really easy. I'm like sort of quite a lazy, quite almost a technophobe, but even for me, it's stupidly easy. Just Google something like how to stop paying your license fee, BBC stop paying license fee, something like that. And there's like one web page on the BBC website, and all you have to do is put in your postcode, and it'll give you a list of addresses. You know, you pick out your one, and literally, other than that, it's like 1 or 2 tick boxes where you just say, I declare I'm not going to watch the BBC, or I declare I don't even own a TV. Just click it, and that's it, and that's it. And you don't have to pay. You're like 160, 170 quid, whatever it is, richer now, and for a whole year they'll stop sending you letters.
Yeah,
and it's really, really easy to sort of opt out. And yeah, I haven't paid the BBC a penny in a long time. It's got to be knocking 10 years. If it's not 10 years, it's 7 or 8 years now. And I will never give them another penny. Never, ever, ever. No, there's some sort of giant extended paedophile ring or something.
Yeah.
So, some sort of cabal of subversive criminals. So fuck them. I'm not getting a penny out of me. No way. So
no, I agree. I completely agree. Archer Merchant has super chat $6 and says, I think it'll be a good sign it's all over and they've destroyed the audience if next they add a cameo for that kid from the Adolescence movie series as some villain. Yes. Yeah. They're done anyway. That Doctor Who's done. Like, it's going to be done after this season. For sure. I doubt it's coming back. So yeah, there you go. Dr. Pooh. Dr. Pooh and Fruity Gaywad. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.